Welcome back to another episode of Quick Picks with the Geek. I am your host, Bro Power the Geek. And it's our favorite division back in action. Not really. Women's bantamweight, where chaos reigns, technique is optional, and half the division might be future flyweights pretending they're big enough to hang. But tonight, we've got Irina Alexieva, a judo-flipping Superman-punching tank from Russia, taking on Poland's own Klaudia Sigela, who brings all the volume of Max Holloway but with none of the violence. Let's dive in. First up, Klaudia Sigela coming in as a plus 190 dog with a record of 6-2. Now look, Klaudia throws a lot of strikes, like a lot. If you look at the numbers, you might think she's putting on Muay Thai clinics, but then you realize she's landing about as hard as a feather falling in molasses. Her punches don't scare anyone. Her opponents barely even blink. I've seen house cats hit harder when they're mad about being picked up. Speed? Let's just say if her hands were any slower, we'd need to play her fights in 1.5x speed just to keep people awake. Combine that with the fact that she stands tall, keeps her chin up like she's waiting for a photo, and doesn't move her head. You're looking at a walking, please kick me in the ribs sign, but there is hope. On the ground, she's got some slick skills. She's a BJJ purple belt, and her cage wrestling is pretty solid. She's not shooting doubles like DC, but she's sneaky with trips and knee traps. Kind of like the crafty aunt who knows all the backdoor hacks in a video game, and when she gets top position, she does work. She'll hunt for submissions or just land enough elbows to make the ref wonder if it's time. The problem? Physicality. Holding position isn't her thing. If jiu-jitsu is a game of chess, she's great at getting the check, but not great at keeping the king cornered. She also struggles to defend takedowns, so if you can push her around, she's not the best at staying upright. And now, Irina, Russian Ronda Alexieva, coming in as a minus 230 favorite with a record of 5-2. This might be the first time someone earned a UFC contract by saying, I once saw Ronda Rousey fight and I liked it, because Irina's game is Ronda cosplay with more flair. She's a judo black belt and a 3-time Sambo world champ, and she fights like someone mashing the X button on a controller. Flying knees, switch kicks, spinning stuff, maybe a cartwheel just for fun. Now none of that means it's good. She's not Anderson Silva in there. She's slow, flat-footed, and telegraphs everything like she's sending a fax. But she tries, and that's worth something. It makes for fun, messy scraps. If you told me she practices by shadowboxing in slow motion to 80s montage music, I'd believe you. Where she shines, though, is in the clinch. Her judo and sambo base makes her a monster in the body lock zone. She'll get you down with a trip or a throw, then just sit on you like a boulder with fists. Her control is solid. Her BJJ isn't world-class, but it's good enough. She's not going to triangle you from guard, but she can maul you from top position. Her biggest issue is that everything she does feels one beat behind. If she were a DJ, every drop would be just a little off-tempo. Her footwork's slow, her entries are obvious, and her striking, while flashy, just isn't dangerous. She's better when she keeps it basic and lets the grappling do the work. So, who wins? This is one of those fights where it feels like both women could lose if they fought a mirror. Neither has looked UFC ready in every performance, and both are probably on the bubble if this goes poorly. If Klaudia can keep distance, work her volume, and avoid the takedowns, she could touch Alexieva up and make it a frustrating night. But that requires good footwork, fast hands, and some damage. She currently has none of those in stock. Irina just needs to push forward, survive the tickle fight range, get to the clinch, and judo yeet Klaudia to the mat. From there, she'll probably sit on her chest and punch until the ref has to make a business decision. Official pick: Irina Alexieva via decision or late TKO. It won't be pretty, it won't be clean. It might look like two NPCs fighting in a laggy server. But Irina's physicality and takedowns should be enough to neutralize Klaudia's low-impact striking and win her the fight. Probably not a performance bonus incoming, unless they start handing those out for commitment to chaos. Oh yeah, we're back in the welterweight trenches with a beautiful mix of regional chaos, hard names to pronounce, and a guy with a nickname that feels like it was made in a Guy Ritchie fever dream. On one side, Seokyeon Ko, a man so committed to the knockout lifestyle, he literally named himself after it. On the other, Oban Elliott, who looks like the kid in school that sold knockoff Jordans out of his locker, but somehow now submits people for a living. Let's take a closer look. First up, Seokyeon Ko, coming in a plus 300 dog with a record of 11-2. Okay, imagine if Street Fighter made a Korean DLC character. This would be the guy. Ko is a combat sambo champion, has 6 knockouts, and doesn't believe in boring fights. His game plan is simple: press forward, throw heat, hope you go down before he does. He's got speed, power, solid kicks, and the kind of attitude where head movement is for cowards. He's fun. He's violent. He's also been knocked out by two guys who would lose to your cousin who wrestled in high school. Ko's biggest strength, going forward like a wild man, is also his biggest flaw. When you're overthrowing on every punch like you're in a Dragon Ball Z episode, your chin better be made of steel. Spoiler, it's not. Now his takedown defense exists, but that doesn't mean it's been stress tested. It's like a college dorm fire extinguisher. Looks fine, might work, but no one's really checked it. He can wrestle, but he'd rather bang it out on the feet like he's trying to win a contract in Pride circa 2005. So what you've got here is a guy with violence in his DNA and a tendency to gas himself trying to recreate highlight reels before the second round even starts. And now, Oban the Welsh gangster Elliot, coming in a -400 favorite with a record of 12-2 first of all. The Welsh gangster sounds like the friendliest mobster you've ever met. Like he'll break your legs but knit you a scarf while he does it. But don't let the wholesome accent fool you. Oban can fight. He's riding an 8-fight win streak and came into welterweight the hard way with a heart condition that forced him up a division. So now he's out here with a literal built-in excuse not to fight but choosing violence anyway. Respect. Oban's the more well-rounded fighter here. He's done boxing, taekwondo, judo, probably competitive chess on the side just to round it out. He's got clean technical striking, mixes in knees and elbows in the clinch like he's been watching vintage Muay Thai tapes, and if the fight hits the mat, he's got solid ground and pound and sneaky submissions. He's not the fastest dude in the cage, but he's composed. This isn't a guy trying to win a bar brawl. This is a guy trying to pass the class with a solid 85 and no drama. He's got a good chin, good cardio, and doesn't make the kind of mistakes that lose you a fight late. Also, he carries his power deep into the fight. Ask Basil Hafez's brain cells after round 3. So, who wins? If this stays standing and becomes a wild shootout in round 1, there's a world, like an alternate dimension, sure, but still a world, where Ko lands something huge and Oban sees Welsh dragons before hitting the mat. But realistically, Oban's the smarter, tougher, more technical fighter with a deeper gas tank. If Ko doesn't land that fight-altering nuke early, he's going to slowly fall apart like a cheap bookshelf. Especially if Oban starts leaning on the clinch, wearing him out, mixing in takedowns and draining that Korean explosion energy bar by bar. This has the feel of a classic round 1 chaos, round 3 regret type of night for Ko. Official pick, Oban Elliott via 3rd round TKO, too smart, too steady, too good of a gas tank. Unless Ko makes magic happen early, this one's heading toward a clean finish from the Welsh gangster. Expect chaos early, exhaustion in the middle, and ref intervention before the final bell. Alright folks, it's time for the fight that only a mother, or a matchmaker with CTE, could love. This is one of those matchups that makes you ask, who greenlit this? And then remember, Dana once gave CM Punk a UFC fight, so here we are. We've got 2 big heavyweights, 2 bigger question marks, and enough overhand rights to fill a beer league boxing class. Let's break it down, or survive it. Either works. First up, Muhammad the Motor Usman, who comes in a plus 170 dog with a 10-4 record. Muhammad Usman, otherwise known as Kamaru's brother, is riding a 2-fight losing streak. Listen, I hate to be mean, but the Motor is running on lawnmower fumes. The dude has size, yes, he's built like an action figure made of meatloaf. But when it comes to technique, you get more polish striking from an inflatable tube man in front of a car dealership. He throws wild overhands like he's trying to knock a fly off your shoulder from across the room. His jab exists, sure, but it moves like it's wading through molasses. He can wrestle in theory, but in practice, if he gets on top, he just kind of vibes there. No ground and pound, no threat of submission, just 260 pounds of indecision. And off his back, he's about as dangerous as a turtle doing yoga. Now, to be fair, he's tough, he has heart. And his cardio is okay by heavyweight standards, meaning he doesn't fall over like a Jenga tower in round 2. But let's not kid ourselves. This man is in the UFC because of bloodlines, not beatdowns. Next, Hamdi the Hammer Abdul Wahab, who comes in a minus 200 favorite with a record of 4-0, allegedly, the Greco-Roman powerhouse from Egypt whose real fight history reads like a legal document. He came into the UFC, won a split decision, then popped for PEDs like it was the 90s. USADA said, try again, and now here we are hoping he's off the sauce and onto some striking drills. Hamdi's got serious wrestling credentials, and when he gets on top, he actually knows what to do. He throws ground and pound like he's trying to pound a steak flat. His takedowns are heavy and relentless for about 90 seconds. After that, you can almost hear his lungs filing HR complaints. Striking-wise, he's basically a cartoon caveman. Big looping overhands, no setup, all vibes. But the chin's decent and he trusts it like it's carrying his mortgage. He'll sit in the pocket, swing for the fences, and hope you fall first. There's a subtle difference between power and technique. Hamdi ignores both. Cardio, rough. He fades like a Snapchat message after a strong first round. But he's gritty, and in a fight like this, that might be all you need. So, who wins? I mean, do we win? Emotionally? Morally? I hate to make a pick in this fight. If I could pick the ref, I would. But you've got two heavyweights who are basically mirrors of each other. Low output, big muscles, shaky gas tanks, and wrestling backgrounds that don't always translate. The difference might come down to who does just a little bit more with the limited tools in the shed. This fight makes me agree with Joe Rogan about letting heavyweights get back on the sauce. Anyway, Usman has slightly better cardio, but Hamdi actually uses his wrestling when he's not trying to punch a hole in time. Neither guy has the striking to be afraid of, but Hamdi might edge it out simply by being the one pushing forward while Usman stares like he's buffering mid-fight. Official pick, Hamdi Abdelwahab via split decision. No real confidence here, I just think Hamdi might accidentally do more. Maybe he lands a takedown or two. Maybe he flops on top and wins some rounds while Usman practices shadow boxing the air 5 feet away. It won't be pretty, it won't be fun, but it will be a win. Let's just hope the ref stays alert, because one of these guys might faint from exhaustion and the other won't even notice. Next up, Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. We've reached that classic UFC booking. 2 flyweights with 48 combined takedowns, a few TKOs, and the potential for either a grappling clinic or a 5-alarm clinch fest. Either we're about to see a beautiful chess match on the mat, or 2 guys cancel each other out and throw hands for 15 minutes like their life depends on it. Let's get into it. First up, Tagir Ulanbekov, who comes in a -290 favorite with a 16-2 record. Tagir Ulanbekov, Team Khabib's quieter cousin, is the combat Sambo world champ who fights like your Wi-Fi signal. Strong in the beginning, sometimes fades, but always finds a way back. The man has 9 submissions, 0 knockouts, and 1 very annoyed Tim Elliott on his resume. His game is classic Dagestan. Takedowns, control, body locks, rinse, repeat. And he doesn't just shoot double legs. This man will snatch a single leg while you're still tying your gloves. You're mid-exchange, and boom, you're horizontal. On the feet, he actually moves pretty well. He manages distance smartly. He's hard to hit clean, and he throws enough to keep you honest. But let's be real. If Tagir has to stand and bang for 3 rounds, it's usually because something went terribly wrong with plan A. He has decent pop. Not knock you out pop, more like win an argument with volume pop. His one loss in the UFC came to Tim Elliott, who basically fought him like a raccoon on meth. And yeah, Tim grabbed the gloves in round 2, but Tagir still lost that round by letting Tim Elliott cosplay a greased-up monkey in a washing machine. Since then, though, he's rebounded with 3 straight wins, all solid performances, and he's looked like the guy you don't want on your back, or on your calendar. Next, Azat Kazakh Maksum, who comes in this fight a +235 underdog with a 15-1 record. Azat Maksum is the latest in a long line of Kazakh savages with just enough mystery around them to make you nervous. He's well-rounded, athletic, and somewhere between promising and possibly terrifying depending on how you feel about split decisions. He hits hard, in theory. He's got 4 knockouts, but in the UFC he's mostly been outstruck. First by Tyson Nam, who throws like he's trying to time travel, and then by Charles Johnson, who stuffed him like a Thanksgiving turkey and made him work for everything. Maksum does have a good overhand, and he sets it up nicely, but it's not like he's out there starching dudes. His strength is definitely in the grappling. He scrambles well, he can hit takedowns of his own, and he'll jump on your neck like a frustrated raccoon if you give him a window. He's got 5 submissions, and he's one of those fighters who just feels heavy even when he's in half guard. Cardio-wise, he's solid. Doesn't fade much, doesn't panic in deep water. He's not going to overwhelm anyone with output, but he keeps a good pace and knows how to grind out ugly rounds, which might come in handy in this matchup of who gets top control first roulette. So, who wins? Honestly, this one's all about inches and instincts. Both of these guys can grapple, both are awkward strikers, both are basically allergic to knockouts. So how do you separate them? Tagir is the more polished wrestler. His trips, his pressure, and his transitions are just tighter. He doesn't waste movement, he also doesn't gas, he doesn't panic, and he generally doesn't do anything dumb unless you glue gloves to your hands like Tim Elliott. Maxim's got a puncher's chance, not because of his hands, but because of his ability to create chaos. He can scramble, he's tough, and if Tagir slows down even a little, Azat will get right back in the fight. But if he gets taken down early and spends 2 rounds being Dagestani blanket, it's going to be a long night of staring at the lights and hearing Khabib say, "Smash." Official pick: Tagir Ulanbekov via decision. I think Tagir's wrestling, fight IQ, and positional control make the difference here. He won't finish Maxim, but he'll out-scramble him, out-control him, and probably win 2 out of 3 rounds. Expect 1 or 2 moments where Maxim explodes and looks dangerous, but mostly a long night of Tagir doing Dagestani things while Joe Rogan wonders if the armbar is super tight when it definitely isn't. Just pray there's no glove grabbing this time, or Tim Elliott flashbacks. Next up, Melissa Mullins versus Daria Zheleznyakova, aka No Mess versus the Iron Lady. Alright folks, it's time for the rematch no one asked for, but we're all secretly glad is happening. Like your favorite straight-to-DVD sequel. Last time these two locked horns, it was going full horror movie. Let's hope they pick up where they left off. Let's break it down. First up, Melissa No Mess Mullins, who comes in a plus 210 underdog with a record of 7-1 record. Melissa Mullins is like if your local jiu-jitsu gym came to life, chugged a bang energy, and missed weight twice. Look, I'm not saying she's allergic to the scale, but she's missed weight in her last 2 fights, and the UFC's PI is probably just printing out apology letters with her name pre-filled. That said, this woman can wrestle. She's got legit takedowns, excellent top control, and the kind of ground and pound that makes you reevaluate your hobbies. 4 of her 7 wins are by TKO, and none of them are highlight reel head kicks. They're just good old-fashioned smash your face into the canvas until the ref has a panic attack. She's gone 2-1 in the UFC so far, and while her striking is about as sharp as a butter knife, it's serviceable. She can take a punch she throws back, and she only really needs 1 moment to grab you, throw you down like a sack of potatoes, and begin the industrial-grade carpet burn. But her head movement? Non-existent. Her striking defense? Think standing in the rain with no umbrella vibes. Still, if she gets on top, it's usually a wrap. Her biggest threat is gravity, and she knows how to use it. Next, Daria the Iron Lady Zheleznyakova, who comes in a minus 250 favorite with a 9-2 record. Daria Zheleznyakova sounds like the final boss in a Rocky movie, and she fights like it too. She's all about forward pressure, power shots, and walking through fire like she left something in the oven. She's got 5 knockouts, and every one of them looks like a nightclub security video. She's not just a striker, she's a thumper. Her punches sound like a door being kicked in. And the best part, she has cardio for days. She'll throw with heat in round 1 and still be throwing with venom in round 3 like she's trying to knock the round off the scoreboard. But there's a big, yeah, but, and it's spelled Takedowns. Once you get Daria on the mat, she turns from Iron Lady to aluminum foil. She doesn't have great hip escapes, she gives up her back under pressure, and her defense on the ground looks like she's buffering in real life. This is exactly how Melissa beat her the first time. Got lit up on the feet, grabbed a leg like it owed her money, and turned her head into a bongo drum. Since then, not much has changed. Her takedown defense is okay. Her get-up game is optimistic. And if Melissa gets her down again, the sequel might have the same ending. So, who wins? This fight really boils down to 2 questions. Can Daria stop the takedown? Can Melissa survive long enough to get it? Because if they stay on the feet, it's Daria's world. She's faster, sharper, more powerful, and just has that swagger where you know someone grew up punching tree trunks for fun. But if Melissa grabs a leg and gets top position, oh baby, we're getting a flashback to that first fight. And it won't be pretty. Melissa's striking still hasn't caught up to her grappling, and Daria's grappling still hasn't caught up to her striking. So we've got a classic coin flip. Get pieced up or get planted. Official pick, Melissa Mullins via ground and pound TKO. Look, it ain't pretty, it might start ugly. You might see Melissa get popped in the face 5 times before she finally says, screw this, hits a takedown, and proceeds to unleash her inner golem. If Daria hasn't fixed that hole in her game, Mullins only needs 1 window to slam it shut. Same story, different venue. Let's just hope she makes weight this time, or shows up with an excuse that includes a buffet and a broken scale. Next up, we got Ismail Nordiev versus Junyong Park. This one's got all the ingredients for a sneaky fight of the night. We've got Nordiev, the flashiest wrestler since Ben Askren tried a flying knee with his face, and Park, a man who treats takedowns like they're personal insults he must avenge immediately. Let's get into it. Ismail Nordiev, coming in a plus 185 dog with a record of 24-7. Okay, so listen, you hear wrestler and think single legs and wet blankets, right? Not Nordiev. This man has spinning kicks for days, flash for weeks, and a gas tank that sometimes forgets it's invited to the third round. His fighting style screams unlicensed stunt double. He's got 12 knockouts and 6 subs, which makes him extremely dangerous on paper. In reality, it depends if he's spinning to win or spinning to get planted. His kicks come out of nowhere and have a GPS programmed for your liver. But he also throws kicks in punching range, which is MMA code for, please punch me in the face now. When he wrestles though, that's his bread and butter. Good takedowns, excellent back control, and when he gets top position, he'll happily play patty cake with your face. But he's not exactly Khabib with the squeeze. He'd rather maintain position than fish for a sub. Think King of the Hill, but with elbows. He's looked great against some regional guys, but there's a reason he's the underdog here. The gas tank isn't perfect, he's hittable, and when fights go deep, the flash starts to fade. Jinyong the Iron Turtle Park, coming in a minus 225 favorite with a record of 18-6. The Iron Turtle nickname fits because this man just keeps coming forward. Slow, steady, and built like he's been bench pressing granite blocks since puberty. Park is one of those guys who does everything well. Good jab, good takedowns, good top game, good cardio, good vibes. Like if a B-plus student became a cage fighter, he just outworked Brad Tavares, which is like winning a prize for surviving a staring contest with a brick wall. Park's game is high-volume pressure, and if you leave the door open for a takedown, he's already in your living room asking what's for dinner. He grinds guys out, drags them into deep waters, and then turtle shells them into the canvas for 3 rounds. On the feet, he's clean and consistent. Not flashy like Ismail, but reliable like your dad's old truck that still runs somehow. He works behind a jab, forces the clinch, and then smothers you until you hate your life. And on top, forget about it. He floats like a hippo in molasses. Nowhere fast, but somehow always on top of you. Cardio? Check. Fight IQ? Check. Chin? Double check. I'm not saying he's impossible to hurt, but landing clean on Park is like trying to slap a fridge that's sprinting toward you. So, who wins? Look, if Nordiev can keep this fight at kickboxing range, throw his funky spinning stuff, and avoid getting turtle hugged into oblivion, he's got a real chance. He's faster, has more knockout power. And if you blink during a spinning back kick, you might wake up wondering who the president is. But if Park gets inside, and he always gets inside, then we're in Grind City. Ismail starts strong, but Park gets stronger the longer it goes. This is like trying to beat a Roomba in a cardio contest. You might land the highlight reel shot early, but if you don't, that thing's just gonna keep vacuuming your soul. And the problem for Nordiev is his flashy stuff gets a little less flashy when someone's laying on his chest, whispering sweet nothings in Korean while landing short elbows. Official pick, Junyoung Park. He survives the early flash, pushes the pace. Give me Park via third-round turtle smother, aka a dominant decision win, maybe even a late TKO if the ref gets bored. Next up, we've got Bogdan, the Unleashed Grad, versus Muhammad Hillman Naimov. Bogdan comes in like a man who drinks espresso shots out of a protein shaker and shadowboxes his reflection. Meanwhile, Naimov is a technical madman with knockout power, a takedown game, and enough durability to make Wolverine jealous. So yeah, strap in. This one could end in 30 seconds or go full 3 rounds of swinging hammers and wheezing lungs. Let's dive in. First up, Bogdan the Unleashed Grad, coming in as a plus 185 dog with a record of 15-2. Now, when someone's nickname is the Unleashed, you expect violence, right? You don't show up to a Bogdan fight expecting footwork and feints. You expect an angry Eastern European man sprinting forward with the fury of someone who's been trapped behind a slow walker at the mall. And that's exactly what you get. This guy is 4-0 in his last 4 with 9 knockouts and 3 submissions. He's not in there for points, he's in there to cause problems. Bogdan is the type of dude who turns a jab exchange into a full-blown bar fight in under 5 seconds. He throws bombs, doesn't mind taking one to give 2, and once he gets you on the mat, good luck. His ground and pound looks like he's trying to stomp grapes into wine with his fists. Defensively, well, let's say he's got that defense is for cowards mentality. He can be finished, especially if he goes full Tasmanian devil mode and forgets his chin exists. But that's part of the charm. You know what you're getting with Grad. Maximum chaos, minimum chill. Takedown defense, surprisingly solid. Grappling, actually good, but striking is the bread and aggression is the butter. Just don't ask him to slow down. He only has 2 gears, forward and ambulance. Now across from him, we've got Muhammad Hillman Naimov, the minus 225 favorite with a record of 12-3. And yes, Hillman might sound like he should be chopping wood with his bare hands in Dagestan somewhere, but don't let that fool you. This guy is sharp. Naimov is one of those dudes who's good everywhere. Striking, wrestling, clinch work, even submissions when needed. He's like the fighter equivalent of a Swiss Army knife if that knife could punch you unconscious. He's got 5 knockouts and 3 submissions, and no one's ever knocked him out, which is impressive considering the level of savages he's fought. He has that good balance of being dangerous early but still composed. He won't throw himself out of position just to land something flashy. He's the guy who sees your spinning back fist and answers with a stiff jab and a takedown. That said, if he gets dragged into a war, things can get dicey. He's been submitted before, and his fight against Felipe Lima showed that when it hits the mat against a real grappler, the alarm bells start ringing. Against a guy like Grad, who can drag him into a firefight or hammer from top position, it's not all smooth sailing. But the dude is tough, technical, and calculated. If he gets through the opening storm, he might turn this thing into a controlled clinic. So who wins? If this fight turns into an actual MMA match, you lean toward Naimov. He's the better rounded fighter, he's got better footwork, and he's got the fight IQ to avoid doing something dumb like trading hooks in the pocket with a human firework like Bogdan. But if this becomes a bar fight with gloves, you better hope your popcorn's ready. Grad has the power, the pressure, and the chaos factor to turn this into a highlight reel moment. And unlike a lot of brawlers, he can grapple too. He doesn't just throw big shots and pray, he'll take you down and smash your head like he's trying to solve a puzzle with elbows. And let's be honest, there's a strong chance this turns into a slobber knocker before Naimov even gets a chance to implement a game plan. Official pick, Bogdangrad. Yep, I'm buying the chaos stock. Naimov might be cleaner, sharper, and more technically sound, but Bogdan doesn't care about that. He drags guys into the deep end and punches them in the neck. Give me Grad by violence. Probably late first or early second round KO. Or maybe both guys gas out after a round and the third is just a hugging contest. Either way, I'm here for it. Next up, we've got a lightweight scrap that promises violence, volume, and probably a finish before your pizza finishes reheating. It's Nazim Black Wolf Sadikov versus Nicholas Iron Mata, a clash between two dudes who hit like they're mad at the floor. Nazim's bringing the wolf energy, Mata's bringing the iron. Someone's chin might turn into glass. Let's get into it. First up, Nazim Black Wolf Sadikov, coming in as a -395 favorite with a 10-1 record. Now let me paint you a picture of Nazim Sadikov. The man has been on a 10-fight unbeaten tear, trains like he's trying to impress Khabib's ghost, even though Khabib is alive, and is fighting in his hometown of Baku, Azerbaijan, which basically means his gas tank gets a +10 buff just from the crowd yelling in his native tongue. Nazim doesn't just throw hands, he launches warheads. His left roundhouse kick has a GPS tracking system, and his right hook, it's got eviction notice energy. 7 knockouts, 2 submissions, and enough highlight reel potential to make Dana White raise an eyebrow. But he's not just a bar brawler, Nazim's got a slick ground game too. Ask Terrence McKinney. Oh wait, you can't. He's still rebooting after Nazim tapped him out with a rear naked choke so smooth it looked like a lullaby. And the man's takedown defense is solid. He doesn't panic, he doesn't shoot for panic takedowns. He just resets, circles, and gets right back to trying to steal your consciousness. The one hiccup? When Slava Claus touched him up with combos, Nazim did that turtle up and hope Santa misses defense. You don't want that against a guy who can crack. You want head movement, footwork, or at least a shield. Across the cage, we've got Nicholas Iron Mata coming in a +310 dog with a 15-5 record. Now don't be fooled by the Iron nickname. This man is absolutely dangerous, but iron does rust. And when Mata's under pressure, sometimes that chin starts creaking like an old shopping cart wheel at Costco. That said, Mata is dangerous, very dangerous. He's a KO artist, a sniper with power, and has the kind of fast twitch muscle that makes you think, oh hey, is he fighting in 1.5x speed? He's got good footwork, solid boxing fundamentals, and when he picks his shots, they land with malice. His takedown defense is no joke, 82%, which is pretty dang good unless your opponent's last name ends in Magomedov. He keeps it standing and knows how to find the angles to hurt you. And when he smells blood, he swarms like bees on a soda can. But his durability, that's the problem. 4 of his 5 losses are knockouts. When the going gets tough and the other guy starts pressuring, Mata can shell up, freeze, or just straight up go down. He's got an early danger, late regret vibe. So who wins? This is one of those matchups where you know exactly what both guys want. Neither one's out here planning to touch gloves and shoot a double leg. This is striker versus striker. Shin versus skull, head movement optional. Mata could absolutely win this. If Nazim turtles up again, stands flat-footed, and gives Nicholas a clean combo window, it could be lights out. Mata has legit power. and if he picks his moment right, he can absolutely shock the crowd. But Sadikov is faster, cleaner, and more well-rounded. His power carries late, his kicks are violent, his hands are quick, and unlike Mata, his durability hasn't let him down. Plus, he's fighting in his backyard. You think he's losing in front of the aunties and uncles who skipped dinner for this? No chance. Official pick, Nazim Sadikov. I think he pressures early, mixes in the kicks, stings Mata a few times, and either gets him out of there by late round 1 or puts on a striking clinic for a TKO finish in round 2. Just pray he doesn't shell up again, or we're going to be talking about Iron Mata's comeback highlight on Monday morning. Let's just hope we get the kind of violence where both guys hug it out after, ideally from a stretcher. Alright folks, hide your necks and protect your chins, because next up we've got a grappler versus striker showdown between Miktybek Orolbai and Tofik Musayev. That's right, Miktybek. I wrestle you until you forget your name. Orolbai versus Tofik. I spin, I bang, I nap people Musayev. This one's got potential to be a banger or a blanket. Let's figure out which. First up, Tofik Musayev, coming in as a plus 140 underdog with a 22-5 record. Now, Tofik is like if you took every striking art from a 1980s martial arts movie montage and shoved them into one angry Azerbaijani. He's got karate, kung fu, taekwondo, sanda, pankration. The only thing he's missing is a VHS of Jean-Claude Van Damme yelling, "Kumite!" He has 18 KOs, 14 in the first round. That's not a stat, that's a warning label. When Tofik touches you, it's not a punch, it's a software update. Some guys go to decision. Tofik sends you to meet your ancestors. He's beaten legit names like Patrick E. Pitbull and Sidney Outlaw, and now he's got that veteran glow at age 35, which is also code for his bones make Rice Krispie noises when he stretches. But the man is mean. He doesn't touch gloves, he touches souls. He has fast hands, solid kicks, and the type of ground and pound nightmares are made of. And while he hasn't fought in the UFC yet, he's got the kind of experience that could translate if the wrestling holds up. The big question here, can he stop a takedown? Or is he about to become a grappling dummy for 15 minutes? Now to the other corner, Miktybek Orolbai, coming in as the minus 160 favorite with a record of 13-2. Let's be honest, this guy fights like your little cousin's remote control is stuck on forward. He just walks you down, grabs your legs, and gives you flashbacks to wrestling gym mats that smelled like expired yogurt. Orolbai is a pressure grappler with the kind of relentless pace that makes asthma tap out. He doesn't even need to be flashy. He just needs to touch your leg once and boom, you're horizontal. This man made his UFC debut by neck cranking a dude so hard he probably gave his ancestors whiplash. And he's young in the UFC years, still in that honeymoon phase where cardio's good, chin is fresh, and he hasn't figured out that MMA paychecks don't cover back surgery in 15 years. The downside? His striking defense is about as tight as an open bar tab. He's hittable, especially early. And if you can stop the takedown, he's suddenly very average with a solid chin. But so far, most guys haven't stopped the takedown, they just flail, fall, and flinch. So, who wins? Let me tell you, this fight is going to be decided in the first 4 seconds. If Orolbai gets a grip on that body, Tofik's going on a tour of the canvas. And once he's down, the Dagestani Khabib cosplay begins. We're talking wrist control, smothering top pressure, and the kind of smother that should be illegal in 38 states. But if Tofik can stuff a few takedowns and keep it standing, then Orolbai's in trouble. Because Tofik doesn't hit like a lightweight. He hits like a disgruntled truck driver who just found out his sandwich was missing cheese. One clean shot, and this fight could be done faster than a Tinder date that starts with, "I do Muay Thai." Also, look, I get it. Tofik might be 35. He might not be championship level, but he's got that veteran scowl. That, I didn't come all this way to lose to a guy with a name that sounds like a Dragon Ball Z villain energy. Official pick, Tofik Musayev. Call me crazy, call me nostalgic, call me a sucker for spinning stuff, but I'm riding with the old dog here. I think Tofik keeps the fight standing long enough to hurt Orolbai, forces a bad shot, and lands something nasty in the scramble. Could Orolbai smother him and make this look like a Dagestani instructional DVD? Absolutely, but I'm betting the meaner, heavier hands show up first. Let's go Tofik. One spinning heel kick away from chaos. All right, folks, it's heavyweight time again, which means big men, big bombs, and cardio that lasts exactly as long as a TikTok video. This time it's Curtis Razor Blades taking on Rizvan, built like a fridge that wrestles Kuniev in a classic matchup of can the new guy hang with the Shark Tank? Let's dive in. First up, Curtis Razor Blades, the minus 265 favorite with a record of 18-5. Now Blades has been holding down the top 5 heavyweight gatekeeper role like it's a full-time job with benefits. Want to find out if you're UFC title material? Gotta go through Curtis. Spoiler, most people don't make it out alive. Or conscious. Blades is the most credentialed wrestler in the division, not named Cormier, and Daniel's been golfing lately. He's a guy who will shoot a double leg like a welterweight, land in half guard, and proceed to elbow your face until your memories are in 480p. His chain wrestling is clean, his top pressure is brutal, and when he wants you down, you're going down. Doesn't matter if you're built like an oak tree, he'll find an angle and slam you like laundry on a spin cycle. But here's the catch. Curtis Blades' chin has a contract clause where it clocks out early. If you got power, you got a chance. The man's been sent to the Shadow Realm by Francis Ngannou twice, Derek Lewis, not even a surprise, and Sergey Pavlovich, who hits like a planet. If chin durability were a stat in UFC 5, his would be blinking red. Still, this is a guy who TKO'd Jailton Almeida, a man who was previously tossing heavyweights like pizza dough. Curtis is big, athletic, and honestly pretty well-rounded now. The jab's sharp, the cross is mean, and the ground and pound is basically medieval torture. Now onto the newcomer, Rizvan Kuniev, coming in as a plus 215 dog with a shiny 13-2 record. Let's be honest, if you saw this man walking towards you in a tracksuit, you'd immediately apologize for whatever you didn't do. Rizvan looks like a Dagestani mafia boss and fights like one too. This guy is dangerous everywhere. Good jab, solid kicks, powerful top control, and a side control crucifix that feels more like a death trap than a position. He's submitted Anthony Hamilton in under 90 seconds, been a champion in Eagle FC, and has more amateur hardware than a Lovi's clearance rack. Rizvan has that Dagestani grappling, but with some added flair. He's not just taking you down, he's positioning himself like he's painting a masterpiece. Then suddenly, elbow, elbow, hammer fist, nap. But here's the rub, volume. Rizvan can sometimes go on strike, pun intended. He'll throw 3 jabs in a round and stare at you like he's waiting for the DLC to load. And if you're that hesitant against Curtis, bad news. Curtis has developed just enough striking to outpoint you if you give him the space, or knock you out. Also, Rizvan's never fought a guy who wrestles like Blades. Not in Eagle FC, not on the regional scene. This is his crash course in big boy wrestling one-on-one, and the professor is coming in with extra cardio and homework shaped like elbows. So, who wins? Here's the thing. If Rizvan wants to win, he's got to come out fast, land something clean, and make Curtis question his chin and his life choices. He can do it. He has the tools. But if he hesitates, throws low volume, or waits for the takedown, he's going to be picking Blades' shoulder hair out of his mouth for 3 rounds. Blades doesn't have the cleanest striking, but it's enough to win rounds, and if the wrestling opens up, good night, nurse. And probably your orbital bone. Rizvan has a chance, but it's a small one, like hope Curtis slips on a banana peel small. Official pick, Curtis Blades. I think the vet gets it done. He's seen this style before, and Rizvan hasn't seen his. Unless Rizvan lands early and hard, this one becomes a textbook Blades performance. Double leg, elbows, rinse, repeat. We're talking 30, 27, maybe a ground and pound TKO if Rizvan gets stuck on bottom like Windows 95. Now cue the who's next for Blades debate, again. Next up, Rafael Adaman Fiziev versus Ignacio. Please don't block this with your face, Bahamondes. This one's not a fight, it's a fireworks demo with a cage around it. You got 2 guys who would rather get hit by a bus than go for a takedown. And they're gonna meet in the middle, crack each other with spinning shenanigans, and one of them is gonna fall like a Jenga tower with no bottom row. Let's get into it. First up, Rafael Adaman Fiziev, coming in at minus 115 with a record of 12-4. Look, Fiziev doesn't even fight like a real person. He fights like a Mortal Kombat character that was released into the Matrix. Wheel kicks, spinning back fists, jumping knees, and somehow he dodges kicks like he's got bullet time activated. Remember when he leaned away from a head kick like he was limboing at a beach party? That wasn't defense, that was art. But here comes the but. Fiziev is on a 3-fight skid. The Gamrot fight was competitive until that injury, but it still means Fiziev's been out for a bit. And he came back into an L to Justin. Now he gets matched up with a 6'3" Chilean who kicks like a mule on meth. That's a big ask. That said, Fiziev has 8 knockouts, an elite 90% takedown defense, and Muay Thai that looks like it was designed in a lab somewhere in Bangkok. His body kicks echo through arenas like someone dropped a phone book in a bathroom. He's shorter than Bahamondes and gives up 6 inches of reach. So if Fiziev wants to shine, he's got to either get inside or throw something so flashy it distracts us all from the fact he's standing 4 feet away. Also, let's be real, he fights like a man who knows Dana White is watching with bonus checks in hand. Next up, Ignacio Bahamondes, coming in at -105 with a record of 17-5. Now Ignacio Bahamondes might be the only guy in the division who throws flashier kicks than Fiziev, and somehow does it while being 6'3" and looking like a fashion model on cheat day. This man threw a wheel kick KO with 1 second left in a fight just because he felt like it. That's not a highlight, that's disrespectful. He's averaging 7.09 significant strikes per minute, which basically means he's throwing heat every 8 seconds. He's like a human blender with shin guards. And don't sleep on the ground game either. He's got sneaky submissions, good defensive grappling, and cardio that doesn't quit. He basically went toe-to-toe with Jalen Turner and came out looking like the Terminator on his lunch break. What makes Bahamondes dangerous is that he doesn't just throw volume. He throws accurate, powerful, and diverse strikes. If you cover up your head, he attacks the body. If you defend the body, here comes a head kick from Chile with love. The big question, can he deal with Fiziev's speed and chaos? And can he take advantage of the reach difference without getting wheel kicked into orbit? So, who wins? This is one of those fights where no one loses, we all win. We're getting two of the most fun strikers in the division, and the only way this hits the ground is if someone's unconscious. Fiziev has the edge in technique, power, and experience. He's fought killers like Getia, RDA, Bobby Green, but he's also coming off a layoff, riding a losing streak, and has to close a massive reach gap without walking into a flying knee. Bahamondes? Taller, younger, longer, and maybe hitting his stride at the exact moment Fiziev is questioning his. If this turns into a high-paced kickboxing chess match, I actually like Ignacio's tools better, especially if he mixes in the grappling. Fiziev's takedown defense is elite, but the threat of level changes could make him hesitate just enough to open up Head Kick City. Official pick, Ignacio Bahamondes. I know it's close, I know Fiziev is the proven name, but my gut says the youth, reach, and activity of Bahamondes overwhelm Fiziev down the stretch. I think we get an absolute banger, but I'm banking on Bahamondes keeping range, kicking that injured leg, and turning this into a changing of the guard moment. And hey, if we're lucky, someone lands a spinning something and wins us all 50K in bonuses and another 15 GIFs to tweet for the next 6 months. Oh, it's violence o'clock again. And this time, we're getting the kind of fight that makes Dana White lean forward and mutter, "Somebody's about to die." That's right, it's Jamahal Sweet Dreams Hill versus Khalil Warhorse Rountree, aka the Muay Thai Menace versus the American Sniper, aka the Please No Grappling Bowl. Let's talk about the two men brave enough to sign this either INAP or UNAP agreement. First up, Khalil the Warhorse Rountree, coming in as a -160 favorite with a record of 13-6. Now look, when you hear a nickname like the Warhorse, you're probably picturing some noble stallion galloping across a battlefield. But no, Khalil fights more like that horse got hit by lightning and now exclusively eats punching bags. This dude has some of the nastiest Muay Thai in the division, and hits like he's trying to delete people from the UFC video game roster. His left body kick could shut down a laptop. His right hook looks like it was downloaded off a Mortal Kombat server. And let's not forget the time he punted Modestas Bukauskas' knee into the 5th dimension with a leg obliteration technique last seen in Highlander. The man does not play. Rountree fights like someone who has seen some things. You don't get this kind of calm, calculated murder unless you've either meditated in Thailand or been stuck in traffic on I-75 for too long. He's sharp, composed, and when he finds his moment, it's like someone hit a button and the violence gets turned to 11. But yes, there's a but. If you can wrestle, Khalil goes from warhorse to mildly confused pony. The takedown defense is still a work in progress. Lucky for him, Jamahal Hill would rather juggle bricks than shoot a takedown. Next up, Jamahal Sweet Dreams Hill, coming in as a +140 underdog with a record of 12-3. Now here's a man whose nickname is a promise. If Jamahal Hill touches your chin the right way, it's not lights out, it's bedtime. Pajamas, warm milk. Goodnight moon, sweet fucking dreams. He's one of the cleanest, sharpest boxers in the division. His left hand has made more people collapse than bad credit. And he doesn't just throw heat, he throws precision heat, like a laser-guided missile with a fade haircut. Hill's footwork is slick, his distance control is elite, and when he's on, he looks like a guy who got lost on the way to a pro boxing match and just said, "Screw it, I'll stay." He absolutely cooked Johnny Walker, slept him like a baby after warm applesauce. And he ain't just all hands, he's got sneaky kicks, solid knees in the clinch, and a pretty underrated fight IQ. The man broke his arm against Paul Craig and still tried to fight back. Granted, it looked like a Stretch Armstrong situation, but the heart was there. Now the concerns. He's on a 2-fight skid. Also, his leg kick defense, about as sturdy as IKEA furniture in a hurricane. And when Khalil starts booting thighs like he's trying out for the NFL, that's going to be a problem. So who wins? This is one of those you pick 'em, I hide behind the couch kind of fights. Both of these dudes can win by turning your lights off before the ring girl finishes walking. If Hill can stay long, pump the jab, and make this a clean kickboxing match, he can piece Khalil up and frustrate him into looking for shots that aren't there. But if he lets Rountree inside, and those legs start getting chewed like a Slim Jim at a gas station, that's when sweet dreams turns literal. Khalil's leg kicks could seriously compromise Hill early, and with Jamahal on a 2-fight losing skid, you gotta wonder if he'll be hesitant. Or worse, slow to pull the trigger. The moment Hill starts planting too much on that front leg, Khalil's gonna go full Muay Thai Grim Reaper. Official pick, Khalil Rountree. Call it recency bias. Call it faith in the horse of war. Call it fear of his sidekick of doom. Whatever it is, I'm siding with Khalil. I think the leg kicks start early. The pressure adds up, and Hill ends up shelling up by round 2. If Khalil smells blood, he's gonna unleash every ounce of violence he's got stored in those shins. But hey, don't blink. These two could finish the fight faster than you can say, Dana, where's my bonus? If you enjoyed this, go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat when the next video drops. And don't be shy. Leave a comment below and let me know who you got winning this fight. Let's see who really has the crystal ball around here. Until next time.